right, guys, welcome back to the show. Today we have a very special guest. We're going to be speaking with ADRIANNA Mosley. Sorry, I'm horrible with names. She is a Samoan Pro Wrestler trying to make a name for herself, which is amazing. This was a super great episode for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. She's a anime lover. She's a huge gamer. And you can find her on Instagram, YouTube. We'll have all the links below. But before we jump into this episode, first I want to apologize. The video was not very good, so it's just audio. So we'll have some nice pictures and things of that nature to show while we're listening to the podcast. And now, before we jump live into today's show, let's have a word from our sponsor of today's episode.
Sponsor for this video is PureBoost. Are you looking for clean energy without jitters and bad side effects? No sugar, artificial sweeteners, or preservatives? With a good source of energy from green tea and B12? Then look no further. Make sure you visit PureBoost.com and check them out today. We use this every day. It's our drink of choice to give us that good pick-me-up in the morning.
All right, welcome back to the show. Today we have a exciting special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm ADRIANNA Mosley. Nice to meet you guys.
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good, enjoying the cold weather.
Oh yeah, same here.
So can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your journey into becoming a professional wrestler?
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in Delaware, in a small town called Felton. Most of you guys from Delaware would know that. So what got me into wrestling, I was hearing about like there were shows like going on around, I know like 302, that's an old company out in Delaware. They had performed shows out at the, what is that? It's an auto auction out there in Felton. So someone had got me tickets for my birthday out there. So I had gone with my best friend, and she happened to be friends with the general manager there. And instantly I had fallen in love with pro wrestling. So then I was like asking around, how do I get started in wrestling? How do I start training? So then I started training at 302 school, and I had met Mr. Grimm, the Hitman for Hire. A lot of people probably know him. He and I became really great friends, and he was the one that actually gave me like a chance to introduce myself into the pro wrestling world.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
You know, and it from what I understand, to get into pro wrestling, it can be somewhat difficult, but I guess it all depends on who you know.
Yeah, and then I agree. But then also, um, I think if you put in the work, you'll be able to make a name for yourself. And I feel like you should stay true to yourself, especially in the business, because there are a lot of people that they want to fake it till they make it, which I guess it works for some people. But me, I'm always about being myself and trying to be in my own category, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't want to be compared to anybody else. Like, oh, she looks like Nia Jax. No, my name is ADRIANNA. I'm nothing like Nia Jax. The only thing that is really much, how can I say, like that we have in common is that we're Samoan and we're plus size. Basically it.
And it's, you know, it's got to be cool to be a part of that that heritage and the richness that, you know, the Samoans have when it comes down to professional wrestling, from, you know, Afa and Sika, you know, up to, you know, Dwayne Johnson, you know, so it's a very rich history.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's another thing. Like, even though I'm proud of everything that the Samoans have done, the hard work they put in to make a name for themselves, I feel as though I want to be my own person, you know, like not just oh, well, you're just like another Samoan. We all know that you guys are just a bunch of powerhouses, and they'll think of like Rikishi or The Rock or something. They'll think of me, not just the people that were there before me.
Right. Yeah, and that's got to be not so much difficult, but to stand on your own, and make whatever you're doing your own kind of. I'd say it's more rewarding.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely is. Because then you can just like you can make a name for yourself. Like you know how I don't know if you've seen like a lot of I know Rikishi posted a lot like the bloodline because I know Rikishi's like really all about like the Samoan heritage and our history and the people before us. How he does like the bloodline pictures. Like I want to be up there someday, but then I also want people to know, like kind of, you know how they say you do like a spine buster like Farouk or like a Batista bomb or something. I kind of want to like have like my own like little move and that people know like, oh, Adriana did that. That's like Adriana's signature move. I kind of like want that, not just oh, it's a
Yeah,
like a Samoan drop. Like,
right. And with most things, you want to stand on your own, but you want to be yourself and create your own path.
oh yeah, most definitely. I have I have two sons of my own, and I definitely want them to look at me and say like my mom actually did something she enjoyed and it wasn't just like another job for her. Like those hours of training that she put in, those miles she put on her car, or the amount of money she spent to get from point A to point B was for nothing.
Right. Yeah, and the thing about that I found really interesting, especially about the independent scene, is now if you put in the dedication and do the hard work, you can make a really good living being on the independent scene. You don't have to be a part of the bigger companies, even though I'm sure that's the ultimate goal.
Oh yeah. Like a lot of people are like thirsting for like that fame, which I mean I am too. I mean I would love to get some like more TV time to actually be able to sign a contract, but I've seen people like for example, oh what's that guy's name? Flip Gordon. I know people like Flip Gordon and Joey Janela and Penelope Ford. They were all doing amazing. Oh, and David Starr. They were doing amazing on the indie scene. Like when I was at CZW, I would see them a lot, and these guys were like making at least a couple grand a night, and it was just on the indie scene from like for one their booking fee and like their merch and everything.
Right. Yeah, the one guy that stands out to me the most that has kind of made a name for himself was Matt Cardona, just because of where he came from and to what he's doing now.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like he's just doing like an amazing job, and that's one of my ultimate goals. Like if I can make it in the indie scene and like make a name for myself there, like I feel like I wouldn't need to go to like AEW or WWE, even though it would be nice. But if I'm if I can find like a comfort spot in the indie scene, then I'm good.
Right. And I love what AEW is doing with being bringing in people, even if it's for dark matches that are relatively unknown to a nationwide audience, even though they
Mhm.
may be highly visible in the promotion that they're in. I think that's really cool because then that gets the your name out there and opens up multiple doors for you know other opportunities to come down the road.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like one of my good friends, Steve Pena, he's going back on AEW. I know Nyla Rose is on there. She's doing a great job. Grimm was on the show, was on AEW, and I feel like I know with Mr. Grimm, a lot of his bookings started to fill up. Like his weekends were filling up ever since he was on AEW, and he said it was like a really great experience.
That's really cool. I mean, it would be awesome if you could get places like WWE to do that, just because they have a much broader audience, but then it's going to introduce them to talent like yourself and other people. That would be great.
Yeah, and getting that experience working with people that have made it. So maybe there's something that you can take from that experience and it'll help your career grow.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's great to see that smaller promotions are getting bigger and getting more visibility, and you're able to go to different areas and just do like they did in the olden days and just make a name for yourself in different territories, so to speak.
Oh yeah, like a great example I can use is 1CW. It's a promotion here in Delaware. They have their shows in Houston, Delaware. It's like a little small town. They have it at the fire hall. 1CW, if I stand correct, I didn't really know about 1CW. I heard about it, but it was kind of like one of those like little ghost promotions because like at the time where I had was first introduced into the business, PPW was big, DCW was huge, and 302. But 302, I guess is gone now. But 1CW was like that little ghost company that everybody they knew about it, but it was like kind of shut down. Now I know 1CW they pull about 300 people now, and they are doing a great job. I can say that I'm really proud of Sean Hardy and Sean Carlson, of how far they come and the amount of talent they brought in. So now I know they're like partnered with a women's promotion. It's called CCW. So they've been getting a lot of attention with that.
Yeah, and I've seen some stuff on CCW on Instagram and Facebook, and the talent there is just unreal. Everybody is just like the best of the best for the indies, I feel like.
Oh yeah, the females they have on there, they are so talented, and even the females that are just now starting out, they have their own originality, they have their own like little gimmick that fits them, and they know how to capture the crowd's attention. I've never seen a bad match from them.
And see, that's what it's all about. Is from just being on the outside for me would be having that one match or matches that grabs your attention, the storyline. And I feel like, especially nowadays, no matter what promotion you're with, even if it's with WWE, AEW, I feel like that the women have the best spot on TV now, just because they're able to tell a story. I feel like a lot better than the guys in some aspects.
Yeah, most definitely, especially with a big one was Sasha Banks and what's that girl's name? Belair.
Oh yeah,
Um, that whole match was just amazing. And then big another big match that I really enjoyed was Nia Jackson, Alexa Bliss for the women's championship. That was great. How a friend can stab you in the back. They can just throw you under the bus like that. Like when they want to get something, they'll take it from you. And I think that really showed a great story.
oh yeah, and it was that storyline to a point was pretty true to life because there are people out there like that.
Yeah, most definitely. They'll betray you like in a second if you don't watch them.
Exactly, and I think that's for me that's what makes a good storyline. You got to relate to it, and it's got to be not necessarily real life, but it's got to be believable to the point where you go, yeah, yeah, I bet you that's what's really going on.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So, as far as your training goes, I've talked to several different independent wrestlers, and it seems like everybody's got a little bit different of a story and what their training was like initially. So I'm always curious to know, when you first started training in the ring, taking your first bumps and running the ropes, what was that like for you?
It was a little scary. At the time, I wasn't really physically active, so when I thought of pro wrestling, I thought I'd just get in like a costume and just like run around the ring and try to look cute. But a lot of it, I will say, was physical. However, the biggest challenge was like my mental stability. Just being able to tell my body it's okay to drop on my back or flip on my back or fall on my butt. It was um it was definitely an experience. And I definitely had to get out of my comfort zone. I definitely had to get out of my head with a lot of the bumps and flips, and we actually had to flip over the rope and get on top of the rope and flip off the top rope and into the middle of the ring. And I will say it was definitely a major challenge for me.
And I can only imagine, just because your natural reaction to do something like that is to try to avoid doing that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I find it interesting to hear that some people say when they take their first bump, it's no real big deal, and you kind of, like you said, to your point, you kind of get scared at first just because it's unfamiliar territory, but you get used to it and then it just becomes routine. But I'm curious, like when you hit the ropes for the first time, I've heard that is very painful to a degree.
Yes. Yes, it is. Well, it also depends on how tight they have the ropes. I know when I first hit the ropes, I definitely had bruises on my back. And at the same time, we had our trainer hit us with a crossbow, not a crossbow, good lord. Um, kind of like shoulder tackle us over the top rope. So yeah, I was definitely bruised up, and my back was definitely sore the next day.
So, as far as developing your character, what was the process like for that? Because I would imagine for it to be pretty authentic, part of that's got to be you to a degree.
Yeah, like how I see a gimmick is it's a part of you, and I know when I looked at a lot of these females on the indie scene, I know one that I looked at a lot was Alexa Bliss because she does um, like a little Harley Quinn stuff. I know she loves Harley Quinn. That's like one of her major idols. Um, and another one I looked at was Zelina Vega. Like she's big into cosplay and anime, and so am I. So she takes a little bit of, she's got that pretty girl, that bad girl chick kind of like persona, and she mixes it in with that nerdy anime girl, which I really like. So when I was thinking of like my gimmick, like when everybody sees me, they see I'm a powerhouse, but also I'm really bubbly. I'm like, people say I'm like a crackhead without the crack, and like I'm just this big nerd. So like I'm just like a little mixture of everything. So I will say trying to find a gimmick for myself was really difficult, but now I'm just like, at first when I first had my gimmick, I did the daughter of death, but everybody's like, so who is the daughter of death? And I would be like, yeah, she just like, she murders people. Okay, why does she murder them? Well, because she thinks she's better than everyone. Like I just couldn't find a good answer for it. But now I'm just like, I'm just me. They're like, what's your gimmick? I'm a nerdy, crazy anime girl. And my whole gimmick is I make people think that I'm like sweet and I'm cuddly and I'm cute, but really I'm like secretly putting the knife in your back. So yeah, it's just all about looking at who you are truly, like just sitting down and thinking about what you truly are, because you don't want to be fake. Like it's just not going to feel right. It's just going to feel like another job. So
Right. Yeah, just be authentic to yourself and just kind of do what works for you. And I think that for an outsider like myself to see that, not knowing the person per se, but seeing matches and stuff like on YouTube and things of that nature, that you kind of latch on to whoever that wrestler may be just because of how they're portraying the gimmick. And then you learn, after you talk to people like yourself, that that's really who you are to a degree, as far as things that you enjoy, and putting that into the gimmick. So, I find that to be the best way to get over.
oh yeah, because you don't want to be like, let's say I pretend to be this like hype girl that's like all sunshines and rainbows, but then really I'm just like black inside. I don't like anybody. I hate everybody. I'm just antisocial, and people are just like, okay, well that's not what you did when you were in the ring. Like you were all kissing and hugging and all about the crowd, but now you're just like you don't really mess with us.
Right. So as far as your moveset goes, I mean, are you kind of a mix of maybe like a powerhouse to a little bit of not so much a high flyer, but off the top rope kind of brawler maybe?
Yeah, so I'd like to be a powerhouse. I know when I first started wrestling, I was about 300 pounds. So obviously I wasn't really like as agile as I am now, but um, with my trainer, I'm now trying to get over like a lot of things in my head to try to make myself like more agile and maybe like a little bit of high flying. But I'm not going to use that as much because like yeah, everybody wants to see a bigger girl fly and be able to do flips and stuff, but after a while it just gets old. Like I'm pretty sure with like the previous matches somebody did a flip off the top rope and people are just going to get tired of it. But yeah, like I'm a little bit of a mixture of everything and I like to try new move sets. And if it doesn't really fit me, then it doesn't really fit me.
Yeah, and I think again, just being from an outsider, seeing it from a different perspective, I think that when you have a certain type of match that you're used to seeing, when you pull something out of the bag, like jumping over the top rope without touching it, or jumping off the top rope, something like that, and you do it every once in a while, it's one of those things that it's like an oh my god moment because you don't see it every day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like they say, oh, she's a thick girl. I don't think she's gonna be able to do it. Kind of just like hype up the crowd and just like, oh, is she gonna do it? Like, is she gonna do it? And then just like hit the crowd with it. They like to see it.
So what is your favorite thing about doing a live event?
I love the crowd. Just um, just the way that they get into it. Like a lot of people, they say, oh, wrestling's fake and it's all just a bunch of BS. And then like you have those people that and they're like my favorite fans. They bring like the WWE belts to indie show and they just like they get into it. And I just like hearing the comments that they make in the crowd and how they really get into it and just like the adrenaline rush before you hit the curtain and you head to the ring before your match. That's what I love about it.
How hard was it to adjust to being able to listen to the crowd and kind of play into their emotions and kind of get them to react the way that you want to react, whether it be as a heel or as a babyface?
Um, so it was kind of difficult. I know when I first started wrestling, um, I started wrestling over at Samu's at WXWC4, and that was kind of like a tough crowd. And I will say New York crowds are pretty tough. So just being able to get a layer of thick skin, I think is important because people will say stuff. I know when at WXWC4, they would call me fat and they would say, get this pig out the ring and all this other stuff. So I kind of had to like use that as like gas to the fire. Like, yeah, I'm fat, but you're sitting there and you're like a piece of shit. Sorry if I'm not allowed to cuss, but like,
No, you're good.
so it's kind of just like growing like a layer of thick skin, just having that thick skin with it. And then, like, say if you're a heel, they don't like you, and then you do something to like piss them off, or if like you're a baby face, you kind of just like interact with the crowd, like, hey, I'm trying to be there for you, and I'm trying to win this for you guys, kind of like.
So when it comes down to being a heel or being a baby, it which is easier for you?
Mm, I would probably say being a heel because I'm a natural bitch. So, um, yeah, like I just know how to be a mean girl. but then also I'm good at being a baby face. But I would say being a heel because that's what I started off as. I think anybody could be the bad guy if they really put their mind to it, but just the way that I am, I can really get under somebody's skin.
Did you enjoy being a heel? Do you enjoy being a baby?
Um, I would say being a heel because for some reason, even though I'm a heel and I can make the crowd hate me, they still love me after the match.
And see, that's incredible because if you can get them to hate you and still buy merchandise and come to see you, then you're doing something right.
Oh yeah, like I was surprised because I had one of my friends, JL Kodo. I had a match with her, and her niece hated me because I was being mean to her on, and then still she wanted to like hug me after the match. I was like, I guess I just got that persona about me.
So, just out of curiosity, while we're on the heel subject, who do you think the top heel is out of all pro wrestling, whether it be small indie scene or the bigger companies?
Hmm, that's a good question. I would say MJF. Like I've known Max for a while now, and I can say, even though I know him, he can get under my skin. Just the way that he is, it could just piss me off. Like,
Right?
I know it's like a promo that he says, but he just can say something that just triggers something in everybody. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm better than you," and all you guys are just trash and all this. And I'm like, "Dang, dude, like really?"
I just love, and that's what I was going to say, but I love the fact that when you see him in videos, whether it be, at like Comic Cons doing signings or interviews, he's ultimately who he is, and that character comes through.
Yeah, like it's just like he is the sweetest person ever, but like when he really gets in that character, he gets in that character.
So, just out of curiosity, I like to ask everybody this: if you had to pick a Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, past or present, who would they be and why?
Oh man, I'm trying not to be biased.
It's a hard choice.
It is. Oh man, I would say Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, uh, I guess I'll put Rikishi up there. Wait, how many people were on Mount Rushmore?
It's four. It
Four?
can be more
Okay.
than that.
Oh, I'll just pick four. um, oh man. I'm probably, dang, mm, trying to find my fourth. This is so difficult because there's so many people that I like.
There's so
Uh,
many great talents for sure.
oh yeah. Um, hmm.
Technical difficulties. I think we lost her. She should be hopping on in a couple of seconds.
I'm so sorry. I have no idea what happened.
Oh,
But
you're good.
I would say Hulk Hogan would probably be my last person on there, just because they all made like their own name for themselves, and they really pushed to be their own original thing in the business.
Very cool. So, what do you have coming up in the next couple of months? Anything that you'd like to share and plug?
So with wrestling shows, I have had people try to book me. I just felt like I wanted to really focus on my training. So I know a booking that I have for sure, in February, I have with VPW Victory Pro Wrestling up in Long Island, on the 11th, and then also the week after I have with a promotion out in Virginia. So I'm looking forward to that. Then also I have 1CW that's on January 14th, and that's in Houston, Delaware. So hopefully, like in the next few weeks, I can really just focus on my training and trying to get my in-ring experience like a little bit more seasoned.
Very cool, very cool. And finally, I know I found you on, I believe, Instagram.
Mhm.
Where can our followers find you and take a look at some of your content and some of the clips of the matches that you've been in?
So I'm also on YouTube. If they look up Adriana Mosley Pro Wrestling, they should be able to find me. I also post a lot of my content on my Facebook page, which is also under Adriana Mosley. I'm trying to get my wrestler page up and running. It's just like I said, I kind of like took a break from wrestling a little bit just to get my mental health the right way. I was going through personal stuff, so I'm trying to get that underway, get some more content out there. But that's pretty much where they can find me.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to chat with me. It's been a lot of fun.
It's definitely been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. I hope you have a good rest of the afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye bye.